7 years ago, I bought a Tesla Model 3, and I made a very small, humble video about it. Look, I'd had the same car for 13 years. I had always wanted an electric car, and I waited 2 years for this specific car. So yeah, I was excited. And yes, I'll admit, by pretty much any definition, I was a Tesla fanboy at the time. Things were different then. Well, now 7 years have passed, and I went from being coal-rolled by right-wingers to being glared at in the Whole Foods parking lot by left-wingers. I watched this brand go from aspirational and inspiring to one of the most toxic and reviled companies on the planet. I gotta say, I did not see that coming. Well, earlier this year, I decided maybe it was time to start thinking about getting a different car. I'd had this car for a while. I wasn't in any rush. I still liked the car. I liked what I saw in the Rivian R2, and I was willing to wait for that. But then a few things happened. One was the oncoming tariffs that threatened to raise the price of new cars, and the other was that the resale value of the Teslas were going down because fewer people were interested in buying them. And I turned 50 this year, so I decided to, maybe treat myself, get something a little bit fancier. So I wound up getting a Polestar 3, because apparently I just really like cars with the number 3 in it. It was a toss-up between this and the Lucid Air. I really like the Lucid Air. Lucid Air is kind of the ultimate EV performance. So if I was gonna get that, I would be going for performance. The Polestar 3 is kind of more luxury. And I've never had a luxury car before, so I decided to go that way. And I figured, since I made a video about my Model 3, when I got that, I thought I would make a video about the Polestar 3, because I have talked about EVs on this channel for a very long time. Haven't talked about them that much lately, and I've got a new one, so let's go check it out. By the way, I'm not a car reviewer by any stretch of the imagination, so it's probably going to be a little bit janky, but I think y'all have come to expect that from me at this point. And I should go ahead and say you're probably going to be hearing a lot of comparisons between this car and the Model 3. Those are obviously just two data points, so to speak, but that's the only other EV I've ever had, so of course I'm going to be comparing it to that. But there it is. Okay, before I get into this, I do want to address the elephant in the room. This is a very, very expensive car. I think spec'd out at this level, I think it came out to $80,000 or $85,000, which is insane and ridiculous. I've never had a car remotely that expensive before. But before you start calling me Daddy Warbucks, I want to make clear, I was able to get a really great trade-in value. Polestar has some really amazing incentives right now. They're clearly trying to get the people who are leaving Tesla. Also, I did not purchase it. I'm leasing it at a very low mileage. Being somebody that works from home, I really don't drive that much. I had really low mileage on my Model 3 after 7 years, so I think sticking to their low mileage wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, counting the Polestar incentives, counting the trade-in that they gave me, and a little bit of down payment that I made, the payments came out to about the same as what I was paying on the Model 3. This version is the dual motor long range all-wheel drive model. It's got a 111 kilowatt hour battery, up to 320 miles of range, and 489 horsepower. Now, to compare that to my old Tesla Model 3, it had a 77 kilowatt hour battery and about the same amount of range, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, if you do the math, you can see that it's not as efficient as the Model 3. Now, this is kind of the mid-range car in their lineup. They also have a performance model that gets more torque and speed, but it only gets 270 miles of range, and on the other end, they've got a single motor version that gets 350 miles of range. Although, I should point out that in August, some Polestar engineers broke the world record by driving a Polestar 3 for 581 miles on a single charge. That's 925 kilometers. But they were doing some serious hypermiling, clearly. It comes with staggered wheels. The back wheels are wider than the front for better handling. The back wheels are 295 millimeters wide, and both of them have 20-inch rims. So just like on the Model 3, you get to pick a name for your car. And what I really wanted, the model that I really wanted was the black and white sort of stormtrooper look on this car. I thought that looked really cool. That was not available though, so I wound up getting the black on black. And to keep with the Star Wars theme, I named it Spark Vader, because it's electric. So let's start off with the things that I like about this car. It has soft closed doors. Love that, never had that before. Also like these thin bezeled side mirrors. I really like the stance of this car. It's very aggressive. It kind of looks like Darth Vader when you think about it. The back lights do this cool little dance when you first walk up to it and it wakes up. That's a lot of fun. Never seen that before. It comes with air suspension and has 3 different levels of settings, so you can set it at the level of firmness that you like. It also apparently automatically adjusts 500 times a second for a nice smooth ride, and it lowers the suspension at speed for better efficiency. And it does give you some off-road capability if you're into that thing. One of my favorite things, though, is you can lower it from the trunk to make it easier to load and unload. This is just a lot of fun to show people. It has a powered back hatch that lifts by itself. Never had that in a car before. It's an SUV, so the storage is pretty great, obviously. It's got a little privacy hatch here, so you can protect your valuables. The floor lifts up to reveal a sub-trunk, where apparently I keep my shoes and hats. And when you do this, it gives you these little hooks that you can hang your grocery bags on, which is a nice touch. And by doing that, you kind of separate the space, and that keeps things from rolling around all over the place. You got chrome tie hooks. You got a 12-volt outlet. Got a nice little mesh pocket over here. I've got a first aid kit stuck there. And a wine strap where you can keep the thing that helps you deal with the state of the world. The seats lie down flat, and when you do that, you get almost 50 cubic feet of storage space. There's enough room to lay down and stare up at the all glass roof. And I'm pretty tall. I'm like 7.5 feet tall. The front headlights in this thing are amazing. I love these. So they automatically adjust for brightness for oncoming cars. That's nothing new. But they also track with your steering. So like as you turn the wheel, they'll veer in the direction that you're steering. And if you're making a 90-degree turn, like you're turning onto a new street, a side light comes up to light up that street that you're turning into. I didn't even notice that for a couple of months, and when I did, it just blew my mind. And it does also do a little dance when you approach the car, so that's fun. So the interior has these orange pinstripes throughout the car, and honestly, this might be my single favorite thing in this car. It's nothing too crazy. I've seen crazier interior lighting in cars out there, but this is just so clean and it's striking and simple, and especially with the all-black interior, I just love it. I love it. It's the simple things, people. So let's talk about this binnacle. It's a 9-inch display. It's right behind the steering wheel, and you can control it with the steering wheel buttons. You can flip between these 3 screens. One shows a graphic of the car with the other cars around you as you're driving. That's especially good when you're in auto drive mode. The second is basically a speedometer and some other details, but the third one pulls the map up on screen, which is really great if you're on a trip, and if, say, like my wife has got music pulled up on the center console, I've still got the map and the navigation right in front of me. It's really handy. I've got to talk about the sound system in this car. By far, the best sound system I have ever had in a car in my entire life. It's insane. It's a Bowers & Wilkins system. They're very proud of it. It's labeled in all kinds of places around here, but it has 25 speakers around the car. And it not only plays the music really well, I mean, the music is insane. It also has active noise cancellation. So kind of like noise cancellation earbuds, it does the same thing in the car, which actually reduces the road noise. I'd play it for you, but it doesn't really come across in a video. And in general, just the build quality of this car is great. The seats are super comfortable. It's got this like sort of non-animal leather thing going on. You can adjust the seating in the screen. They'll squeeze you a little bit in the different places that you like. It has an expandable like leg rest here. But you know, we're not talking about panel gaps. We're not talking about like flawed things fitting together. I mean, this is a car that's built by Volvo and Geely, which is a Chinese company, but this is sort of a Volvo offshoot. And that sort of obsession with quality that Volvo has, this definitely has it. You control the air conditioning through the screen, but it does have manual adjustments here, which I actually really like. Did I mention it has ventilated seats? I have lived in Texas my whole life, and I've never had a car with ventilated seats. I've had heated seats, which are good for like 3 weeks out of the year, but ventilated seats in a black car in Texas in August, I kind of don't know how I lived without it. Did I mention that it also has massaging seats? I've got it going right now. It's nice, but it's not something that I use a lot. It's kind of just a frou-frou thing. The massaging seats, I told my sister that the massaging seats make me feel like my grandma driving around in her Cadillac. It uses Google Maps for navigation, and I know this might ruffle some feathers, but I actually do like this better than the Tesla maps and the navigation on the Tesla. One of my favorite things about it is it actually shows you which lane you need to be in when you're exiting a highway, which my Tesla didn't do. And it also shows up on the heads-up display, which my Model 3 didn't have. Also, just quick story, when I say that I like the navigation from Google Maps better than the Tesla maps, a specific thing that I can point to is near DFW Airport, there's this place where like 5 highways converge at the same place. It's kind of insane. And the Tesla would literally just give up. It would just say unnamed road. And sometimes, like if I was going to the airport, then I knew exactly, you could follow the signs to the airport. But if I was trying to get on a different highway in that particular spot, I would miss it almost every time because I didn't know which lane to be in. And the car would literally just say, unnamed road, just do your thing, man. And the very first time I got this car and I had to drive it back to the dealership to pick something up, I got to that same spot and it said exactly which lane to be in. And it was the easiest thing in the world. And I was like, thank God. So not only did it tell you the right road to be on, which the Tesla couldn't do, it told you what lane to be in to get on that road. I like that. The performance on this car has been great. I think it's actually a little bit zippier than my Model 3. Just for the record, my Model 3 was a rear-wheel drive single motor, so it wasn't like a dual motor. Dual motor Model 3s might have a bit more zip than this car, but this one is a dual motor. And so when you turn the performance button on, it flies. I mean, it's got all the punch that you could possibly hope for. I think honestly in the performance mode, this is faster and zippier and quicker than the Model 3 that I had, which was the rear-wheel drive. It's got wireless CarPlay, which doesn't always work so quickly, but it always connects really easily if it doesn't connect automatically. And yeah, not having CarPlay in the Model 3 was something that always kind of drove me a little bit nuts. So I want to talk real quick about the driver assist function in this thing. So Tesla obviously has autopilot, it has full self-driving. For the record, I did not have full self-driving in my car, never went there, but I had the autopilot, really only used it on long drives, driving down to Austin or whatever. This one has what I think they call pilot assist. I think that's the name of it. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself later. And there's 2 things about it that are interesting. First of all, it functions basically the same way as autopilot, not FSD, but autopilot. I'm gonna say something that might rile up some Tesla folks, but I actually do like this better than the Tesla autopilot. Let me explain why. In the Tesla autopilot, when you're driving, every 30 seconds or something, it asks you to wiggle the wheel. So you have to prove that you're paying attention. They don't want you to just sit there and fall asleep like some idiots have done. But you're supposed to like wiggle the wheel every once in a while. So you're driving and every 30 seconds, a little warning comes up, says, shake the wheel. So you gotta shake the wheel and then it wakes up and it does its thing, which is sometimes really unnerving if you're driving like right next to, say, a semi-truck and you're supposed to wiggle the wheel. Yeah, it just drove me nuts after a while. This one has eye tracking, which I will talk about more here in a minute, but it tracks your eyes. And basically, as long as you're looking generally at the road, you don't have to do anything. It's basically, you kind of just forget that it's on and you're just driving. As long as you just rest your hands on the wheel and you're not looking this way too long, I mean, it just does its thing. There's no wiggling the steering wheel. There's no accosting you constantly. It doesn't like constantly try to interrupt your driving to like make you do a thing. You just sit there and the car does its thing and you might go an hour without having to do anything. Now, if you are the type of person who wants to be able to like read a book while you're driving down the road, obviously you're gonna want the FSD if it's even at that place yet. It might be, I know it's come a long way. But if you're someone that just wants to like not have to worry too much about it as you're driving, if you're somebody that uses autopilot in that way, which is what I did, I'm sorry, I think this is better. Now, on top of that, this does something that the Model 3 didn't do, which is it has like, I think it's just called driver's assist. So I think their autopilot is called pilot assist, but they also have driver assist, which is kind of on all the time. Basically, it's a lane keeping thing. It just keeps you in the lane. If I'm driving around and I get a little too close to the lane, it just kind of nudges me back in. And again, I know that there's a lot of other cars that have this, but this is the first car that I've had that has this. The Tesla didn't have that. There might be a way to turn it on in the Tesla, but I never had it on. You guys can let me know in the comments if that's the case. Anyway, I know that might not be for everybody. I really enjoyed it. Another thing about this car that I am absolutely in love with, because this is a much bigger car than I've ever had. I've never had an SUV before, so parking it is a little bit more tricky than the kind of cars that I'm used to. It has the 360-degree parking camera. So when you put the car in reverse, you get the back camera here, like always, but you also have this 360-degree, almost like a drone shot of your car as you're pulling out. You can recenter it by doing that. I'm going to drive around so you can see what this looks like. And it kind of just stays on this camera until you get up to a certain speed, maybe like 5 or 10 miles an hour. And as you pull up, it'll give you an actual how far away you are in inches. Super handy in the garage. Okay, so now let's talk about the things that I don't like about this car. There are a few. I will say right up front, this is basically just a list of first world problems. I'm aware of that. But coming from a Tesla, I was used to some things. And also, again, this is a very expensive car. So there's certain things that you would just kind of expect it to do that it doesn't. But let's just go down the list. First and foremost, the thing that I hate the most about this car, and I'm using the word hate for this one, it's a 3-letter word, the app. The Polestar app for this car, I'm going to say it, it's practically unusable. It's almost useless. There's really only 4 things that you can do with this app. It'll show you the location, it gives you the charge status, you can turn the climate on and off, and you can lock and unlock the car. So of those 4 things, there's really only 2 that actually do anything on the car that have some actual usefulness to the car. That's unlocking and locking and turning the air conditioner on and off. And I'm telling you, it almost never works the first time. You know, being here in Texas, it is August now. This is a black car. It's going to get super hot. Being able to turn on the air conditioning before you get out to the car is super nice. And I did get used to that with the Tesla. You could turn it on and off whenever you wanted, wherever you were. And it usually worked the first time. You just click the button and then the car turns on. It was like, I did not appreciate how well it worked. With this one, and I'm not exaggerating, you have to do it like 3 or 4 times before it works. And sometimes it just straight up doesn't work at all. Same with the locking and unlocking thing. So it does have a Bluetooth key on this. You also have a little key fob that just looks like this. Key fob doesn't have any buttons on it. And the car opens and closes a lot better when you have this in your pocket. You can't do anything with it though. You can't press a button to unlock it. You can't open doors with it or anything like that. But honestly, same thing on the Tesla. It didn't always work perfectly, the Bluetooth key. Every once in a while, you would go up to the car and you have to sit there and wait or do this with your phone to make it turn on. But when I was in my Tesla, if it didn't automatically turn on, I could open up the app, press the button, and it would unlock the car. And this one, and again, if I'm sitting here comparing this to the Model 3 experience that I had, the Model 3 app, the Tesla app, is spectacular. I gotta give them credit for it. Their app is amazing. Points to Tesla for their app. I mean, you could be on the other side of the world and open up your car's app and pull up a camera and see who's standing right next to your car. And you know what? If they needed to get into the trunk, you could press a button and the trunk would open and they would be able to get into it. Or if you want to mess with them, you could press the horn and honk it. You could turn on the lights, whatever. But there were a lot of things you could do with the Tesla app to control the car, and it worked perfectly. This does only 2 things, and it does them really terribly. But the number one thing that I feel like is just like the most incredible oversight on this is you can't honk the horn from outside the car. How many times have you been in a parking garage or a large parking lot? You couldn't quite remember where you parked, so you pull out your key fob, press the little horn button, and the horn honks, and then you can go find your car. We've all done that. And I have been able to do that in cars going back before the year 2000. This is not a new thing. That is something we've been able to do for a very long time. And for some reason, you can't do that on this car. Key fob does not have a button on it, and there's no way to do it on the app. So above and beyond any other criticisms that I have of this car, above and beyond anything that just doesn't quite sit right with me or whatever, any complaints that I have, it's this app. I'm really not joking when I say it's practically a useless app. All right, let's talk charging. Now, the first thing you might notice is that I'm talking about charging in the section of the video where I'm talking about things that I don't like. There's a reason for that. Now, the 2025 version of the Polestar 3, which is what I have, still has CCS charging. Now, if you don't know the difference between CCS charging and the Tesla charging standard, also known as the NACS charging, North American charging standard, let me just take a second, explain what it is. But this is the Tesla charging standard, again, also known as NACS NACS charging. It's small, it's light, it's compact, everything you need is right there, and it just plugs into the vehicle. Whereas this is the adapter for CCS charging, also known as Combined Charging Standard. That's what CCS stands for. As you can see, it is much bigger, it is much bulkier, takes up a lot more space. It's just not as elegant. Now, I'm gonna confess that the whole time that I had, Tesla charging, I really looked down on CCS charging just because it's not as elegant, it's not as simple of a solution, it just seems less well designed. And I had a big chip on my shoulder about it, looked down my nose at it. Now that I have a car that uses CCS charging, I can say definitively, this is garbage. Allow me to explain why. So I got my new car, I brought it home. This is the CCS adapter that they gave me for a Tesla charger. So I bring it in, I get the thing, I plug it in here, a licky boom boom down, right? No. What happened was I plugged it into the car, ready for it to start charging, and it wouldn't start charging. I had to go online and search through some Polestar forums. That is not the last time you're gonna hear me say that, by the way. And what I found out was that CCS charging has two different chargers depending on what kind of charging you're doing. So some of you may know when it comes to EV charging, there's 3 different levels of charging. They call them level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 is just basically your power outlet like you have at home that you would plug a vacuum cleaner into. That's 120 volts, that's level 1. Level 2 charging is 240 volt. That's like what you would plug your dryer into. And that's what this is, by the way. It's just kind of like hardwired into the wall. So level 1 charging is kind of like drip charging. You might get like 5 miles per hour of charging. It's really slow, but if you're charging it all night, that's fine. With 240 volt charging, you're getting more like 30, 40 miles per hour of charge. Again, for an overnight thing, no big deal. Level 3 charging is like the supercharging that you get at a fast charging station. Okay, so this is something I was not aware of until I got a CCS charger. Level 1 and 2 charging is AC charging, alternating current. Fast charging, level 3 charging, is DC charging, direct current. Now, the reason I didn't even know about the whole AC-DC thing is because with the Tesla charger, it works the same, no matter what. This is the exact same charger whether you're doing level 3 fast charging or you're just plugging it into a wall outlet. Exact same configuration, exact same plug, you plug it in and it works and you're done. This does not work that way. This is only for level 3 fast charging, DC fast charging. And the reason why it's called a combined charging system is because the top part here is the level 1 and 2 AC charging. This part down here is the fast DC charging. So when you plug all of this in, when on a 240 volt like this over here, it doesn't work. What that means is you don't just need one adapter, you actually need 2 adapters to make this car work with Tesla chargers. Now, what that meant to me when I got this car was I had a way of charging it at superchargers, but not here at home. So I had to buy this from a company called A to Z. They make great adapters. This works really well, but it took like 3 or 4 weeks for this to come in. So for 3 or 4 weeks, I had no way of charging at home. But wait, Joe, you may be asking, didn't it come with a cable that you could have plugged into the wall or something in the meantime? Yes, it did. And you know what? It didn't work. This is where it's a specifically Polestar 3 problem. I tried plugging this into a wall outlet, again, just as a temporary stopgap until I got that adapter, and it blew the breaker multiple times. I went online again to the Polestar forums. I found out that you can reduce the amperage on the car so it doesn't draw as strongly from the wall outlet to keep it from blowing the breaker. I tried that, multiple different levels. It just kept happening. And you would think that's the worst part. It's not the worst part. Yeah, one of the things that went out when I blew the breaker was the air conditioning unit. And right about this same time, my air conditioner stopped working. Like, not when the car was plugged in. It just kind of, something shorted out on the external unit of my air conditioner, and I had to get it replaced. This was like a 3 or 4 week process where we did not have air conditioning in our house. As summer was approaching, it was not a good time. Now, I have no proof that it was this car that caused that. I had an electrician come out, he looked at it, he seemed to think there was no way that it was the car that did that, but I find it really suspicious that the air conditioner went out literally within a week or 2 of getting this car. I'd had that air conditioner for 7 or 8 years, never had a problem with it, got this car, blew the breaker a few times, and then the air conditioner crapped out on me, and I had to get it replaced. Eventually, I did get the adapters that I needed for the charging, but even that eventually kind of stopped working. It just got to where I would plug it in and it would just say charging failure and I would not be able to charge the car. Again, I'm hitting up the Polestar forums and it turns out there's a piece on the Polestar 3 called the onboard charger and it's crapping out on a lot of people So I had to take it into the dealership and get the onboard charger replaced. Now, eventually that onboard charger was replaced. It's charging just fine now, but that was a good like 2.5 month ordeal when I first got this car, trying to get this worked out. So not happy about that. I am happy to say that it does work at Tesla superchargers. I've used that many times now, but it doesn't work at all of them. I don't know why some of them work, some of them don't. You kind of have to go on the Tesla app to see. There were a couple of Tesla chargers here in town and in other places that we traveled to that I was used to going to in my old car, and I went there and tried to plug it in and it didn't work. It turns out you have to go by what's on the Tesla app. Some of them work with these cars, some of them don't. I'm giving all of this as heads up because these are things I didn't know when I got this car. I had to learn them the hard way, so now you don't have to. Now, one other thing to keep in mind when you're charging in a Tesla supercharger I found is that this actually charges a bit slower. It takes longer to charge anyway than my Model 3, partly because it's just a much larger battery. I mean, Model 3 is about a 77 kilowatt hour. This one's 111, so there's just more to charge. But also, this one does not precondition the battery. Like in a Model 3, you can navigate to a supercharger, it would precondition the battery before you get there. This one doesn't really do that. So yeah, it just takes a little bit longer to charge. I will say though, it's not prohibitively bad. I mean, you're just sitting there eating a snack for a little bit longer. Not that big a deal. Despite all my complaining, it works pretty well in Tesla superchargers for the most part. The only thing is, there was one time I stopped at a supercharger, and because you have to do it through the app, you have to like start the charging through the Tesla app. For some reason, I did not have internet connection. My data connection was not working in that particular spot, so I couldn't get it to start charging. I was literally walking around the parking lot like this, trying to figure it out. That was a one-off problem though. I don't think that's a regular thing. Okay, some other things about this car. I'll start with the most first world problem of them all. This does not have HomeKit on it, meaning I can't open the garage door with the car. I have to actually use the garage door opener, which has just been something I've gotten used to. It's not that big a deal. But it did have that on the Model 3. I would literally just pull up to my garage, the garage door would automatically open. The side mirrors would fold in automatically. This doesn't do that either. Was I spoiled by that in the Model 3? Yes, I absolutely was. I don't know who it's signaling to here. So not the biggest deal, I've adjusted, but it would be nice to have. Another thing about this car is the software is it's buggy. It's a buggy software. I've seen other people doing Polestar 3 reviews that were complaining about the bugginess. As you can see, it's just freaking out. It's just freaking out because I'm sitting next to it. It can't seem to decide whether it wants to be open or closed. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but it's beating me to the punch. I've seen other people doing a Polestar 3 review that commented on how buggy it was. I didn't know exactly what that meant. Well, let me tell you what that means. It means sometimes when you're driving around, the music will just stop playing for no reason. And sometimes you can just, press the button and it starts playing again. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just will not play anymore. One time I was listening to music and it wasn't that it stopped playing, but the volume wouldn't go up and down. So the volume was super low. I could not get it to go up. I could barely hear the music. Could not get that to fix. And again, I go home, I get on the Polestar forums, and I find out there are people in the Polestar forums that are like, here's what you gotta do. You gotta pull the car over, park it in a parking lot, get out of the car, walk away from it for a minute, walk back, and then when it restarts, the problem will be solved. And that's what worked. So yeah, if you're driving around in this car and the music stops playing, with a straight face, they will tell you, oh, just pull off on the side of the road, get out of your car, walk away from it, let it lock, walk back up to it, and it'll solve the problem. With a straight face, they will tell you. There's also little things like, my wife has SiriusXM. This has a SiriusXM app on it, but I can't seem to get it to work because apparently this satellite radio, whatever hardware, is buggy and isn't working. Again, Polestar forums, many people have confirmed this. And that whole stepping away from the car and coming back thing, I think that speaks to something that I've noticed with this car, is that it doesn't really go to sleep when you walk away from it. It kind of goes into a coma. And that's why sometimes when I'm trying to turn on the climate or unlock the car from the app, it's not doing it because it's just in a coma. It doesn't wake up when you do that on the phone. It's like when it goes to sleep, it actually loses the data connection. Therefore, you can't get it to do anything. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. I'm standing around this car and it's locked on me and I can't get the I can't get the things to come up. I'm standing right next to the car and it's not coming up. I got my key fob, you're supposed to place it right here. It's not working. I do have a second card in my wallet that's supposed to make it pop open. As you can see, it's not doing it. Try to unlock it with the Polestar app. See if it actually works. As you can see, it's taking forever. There we go, finally. After how many tries? But not always. Sometimes it works fine, and then sometimes it doesn't. It also gets really buggy and weird if I'm just like around the car. You know, like if I'm loading or unloading the car, if I'm just like doing something around it, if I pull it out and I'm like maybe doing something in the carport here and you know, my phone or my key fob or whatever is on me and I'm just around the car, it doesn't know whether it needs to be open or closed. So it kind of like locks and unlocks and the lights come on, the lights come off. Like it was doing it just a minute ago. So that's just a weird thing that this car does. So let's talk about a few just kind of weird things in the car, starting off with the console storage. The drink holders are aligned vertical and not horizontal. I prefer them to be horizontal, and especially if you have like a water bottle right here in this one, it kind of covers up what's going on the screen. It does have this neat little slider to close it, but honestly, I've closed that. That may be like the third time I've ever closed it. You do have storage under here, but it's not the easiest to get to. You kind of have to like work your arm around to get down there. And then there's this thing. It's solid. I don't know what you're supposed to put in there. Like, what is the point of this? Maybe some documents? What is that for? I don't get it. Although you do have two USB-C charging ports there, which is nice. So something other reviewers have lost their minds about is this the window switch situation here, because there's only two window switches and you've got to click here to select between the front and the back seats. Now, I'll be honest, it doesn't bother me much, but I guess if you have a family and kids in the back seat, maybe you have to do it more often. I can see how that would be annoying, but I'm fine with it. And I mentioned the eye tracking earlier as something that I really like about the driver assist feature. I will put that in the weird category though, because it does sometimes when you're driving, especially if you're doing something on the screen. There have been times when literally my wife said something and I just looked at her like this for like 2 or 3 seconds, and it gives me the alarm to focus on the road. It's very adamant that you look at the road all the time. Especially in the early days when you first get the car and you're still figuring things out and you're trying to like work things out on the screen and whatnot, you're just gonna be looking away at the screen a lot more often. And it does kind of like jump down your throat a bit, which is annoying. I find it interesting that it works when you have your sunglasses on too. There might be a video in this. I'm really curious how that works. The music is controlled almost exclusively with this fun little play button here. And you know what? I actually really like the play button. I like how it looks. It's fun. You just press the button and it starts playing. You can also push this way or that way to go from one song to the other and obviously adjust the volume by doing that. But I will say I do miss being able to just like start and stop the song with the steering wheel. It's still a little bit of movement that you have to do to go back and forth, but it's a little thing. One more little thing that I might put in the weird category here is it's very inconsistent about its range. Here's what I mean by that. Sometimes I'll charge it up to 100% for a road trip or something, and it'll say 320 miles. Other times it'll say 270. Hey, look at that. It's doing it again. I think it changes its range depending on the settings you have in your car. I think it changes the range depending on how you're driving. But it is a little unnerving when you're on a trip and you're not quite sure how many miles you got of range. But it also has, I like this. This goes in the light category, really. It has a range optimization app in the car that you can pull up. It's in the apps section. You can select range optimization. It'll automatically set the car for all of the right settings to get you the longest range possible. And usually when you have that set, it'll say, 310 at least in the miles. See, it just unlocked. Okay. I had to get out of the heat. It was too much. It was too much. So to sort of conclude this whole thing, yes, there's a lot of bugs in the system, a lot of glitches, stuff that bug me and annoy me. But overall, I really do love this car. I love driving this car. It might just be that new car euphoria still, which I'm sure I had with my Model 3 in the early days, but like I will just like find reasons to go run an errand just so that I can drive this car. Which, it's funny to me. I watched a million reviews of this car on YouTube before I got it, and like they were all doing the same thing. People were just like list of complaints, and then ended by saying, "But it's an amazing car. I love this car." And now I'm doing the same thing. Yeah, we took a good road trip around the Texas Hill Country a month or so ago, and it was just such a great drive. It was so much fun just driving this car around. You know, we're going through all these cute little towns, lots of winding roads and up and down and stuff like that. That lane assist just kind of kept me in the lane. It was just nice and fun and relaxing. And, you know, the one pedal driving on this thing is very intuitive, feels very natural. Everything about the driving of this car is amazing. Yeah, in terms of ride quality, it is by far the best car I've ever had, easily. Far better than the Model 3. Having said that, the tech of the Polestar is just nowhere close to where the Tesla Model 3 was. Now, there are a few technological things that I think are a little bit better in the Polestar 3. The Google Maps, I think, are better than the Tesla Maps, from my experience anyway. The Apple CarPlay available in the Polestar 3 didn't have that in the Model 3, so there's things like that. But the technology, especially the app, is just so much further beyond on the Model 3. The autopilot and FSD is more advanced in the Model 3 than the Polestar 3. So if I were to sum the whole thing up, the comparison between the Model 3 and the Polestar 3, if I were to sum it all up in one phrase, it would be this. The Tesla Model 3 is a car made by a tech company. The Polestar 3 is a tech product made by a car company. Like, everything about the driving in the Polestar 3 is just better. The ride quality is better, the build quality is better, the materials are better. So the car is better, but the tech is just way better in the Model 3. Now, the upside of all my issues being software related is that software can be updated, right? You know, and over the air, they do have over the air updates in the Polestar 3. So my hope is that Polestar will invest a little bit more in their tech side of things. If they could get the tech in the Polestar 3 remotely close to what it was in the Tesla Model 3, it would blow it out of the water. So that's my hope. My hope is that the software gets updated and it catches up. And if it does, honestly, I know I only signed up for a 2-year lease for this thing. We'll see how I feel in a couple of years. We'll see what the R2 turns out to be, but there's a hot chance I might just keep this car. I might just keep driving it because I really, really, really do like it. Just fix the software. You know what's really funny? This is actually the first four-wheel drive car that I've ever had, all-wheel drive. I never drive off-road. I never drive in like icy conditions here in Texas or anything. I never really think about it that much. I never really thought about the need for four-wheel drive. But I'm really glad that I have it now because of one little misadventure that I had last year. I was with a couple of guys in Hawaii on the Big Island, and we were actually up on Mauna Loa walking across a lava field, doing a little hiking on a lava field up there. And on the way back down, in a rented van, we got stuck on a rock. Yeah, we pulled off on the side of the road to get a shot, and the gravel kind of shifted underneath the tires, and we wound up stuck on this big rock. It got wedged underneath the axle, and because this was a front-wheel drive car, we couldn't use the back tires to pull us off the rock. So yeah, we were just stuck there. We tried using a jack, we tried to wedge it, we tried to actually break the rock, we tried all kinds of different things, just didn't work. So we wound up having to call a tow truck to go halfway up a friggin' volcano at night in the rain. Wasn't a good time. And yeah, I guess you can say that ever since then I've kind of appreciated all-wheel drive cars. And I like having it on my Polestar, even though I'm nowhere near a volcano. And what you may be asking, was I doing walking across a lava field in Hawaii? Well, I was shooting a documentary, and it's coming out at long last in December on Nebula. Longtime viewers of this channel have heard me tease this project for literally 4 years now, but yes, it is finally a real thing. It's done, and it's called The Oldest and Newest Places on Earth. The whole thing just started with an idea, a kind of a challenge video idea, like, could I travel to the oldest and newest places on Earth? Like, could I stand on the oldest and the newest rock formations on the planet and document that? And after a few years of giant missteps, last year we finally pulled it off. First, we traveled to an area called the Acosta Gneiss Complex in far north Canada, which is a rock outcrop that's been dated to 4.02 billion years old. We joined a team of geologists from the Smithsonian Institution who guided us through the area and got super nerdy with us.
We have this law of science that you learn in Geology 101 classes, where basically the idea is that the present is the key to the past. So you can look at things happening today and trace back what was happening in the past. And that law unambiguously breaks down when you get this far back.
And pondered the immensity of time.
You think more deeply about things other than rocks when you're sitting on these rocks. At least I do in my own experience.
And while we were there, we explored the ancient cultures that have inhabited this spot for thousands of years. How far back do those go, those names? Like, you said thousands of years earlier. Like, do you know specifically how far back?
Well, I would say at the time of giant animals. And that's why the first set of place names is the oldest that had to do with where the larger animals would dwell.
We're talking about like mammoths and mastodons.
Well, we just call them large animals. And
Then we flew to Hawaii and joined USGS researchers as they investigate an erupting volcano. So the eruption that's happening right now, is that considered Mauna Loa or Kilauea?
No, that's a Kilauea eruption.
So like you're sitting at your desk and they're like, woo, 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 time to fly out there.
Yeah,
Is that how it works? That's how I see it in my head.
Honestly, kind of, yeah.
And it's like the marionettes, like, okay, let's go there.
And we're like, go to work.
Along the way, I searched through a lava tube, flew in a helicopter, and stood on the edge of cliffs to learn about the Hawaiian Islands and how they were created. The end result of this was a journey to two amazing places and, personally, a newfound appreciation for this planet that is somehow unfathomably old, but always remaking itself. And this documentary that I've been working on for 4 years now is one of my favorite things I've ever done. I'm super proud of it, and it will be premiering on Nebula on December 12th. It will eventually be making its way to YouTube, but it's going to live on Nebula at first, with, by the way, a bunch of extras that won't be showing ever on YouTube. All the interviews in full, I think there's like 7 of them, full-length interviews that we're going to post up there, plus they're like just some segments that got cut for time but are still pretty interesting, some behind-the-scenes stuff. It'll all live there. And as if that was not enough reason to sign up for Nebula, it's also where I upload my videos. All the videos on my channel, I upload them ad-free, so like this video, yeah, you wouldn't be seeing this part if you were watching on Nebula. I also usually add extra content to the Nebula versions of my videos, and I don't have to like censor myself there quite so much and like blur all the images and stuff like I do on YouTube. I like to say that at Nebula, you get treated like an adult. And that's also true for a couple hundred other creators making thoughtful, engaging content for smart people just like you. No algorithm, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. If you follow a creator, you will see their stuff. And they're always working on new Nebula originals and exclusives, including an upcoming TV show that yours truly got to direct an episode of. So to see that and this documentary, which is probably the best thing I've ever done, and to just get access to a great community of creators, you can go to nebula.tv/Joe Scott, and there you can get 40% off the annual subscription, which comes out to about $36, basically $3 a month. And if you've got enough subscriptions to deal with, they are offering a lifetime membership. It's normally $500, but if you use my link below, it's only $300. And I think that may be going away by the end of the year, so if you've been thinking about it, now might be the time to pull the trigger. Anyway, go check it out. You can scan the QR code on screen here, or just click the link down in the description. But anyway, thanks so much for watching this. I haven't really talked about EVs in a long time, so if you'd like to hear me talk more about EVs, I will. There's so many new options out there right now. It's a completely different landscape from when I first started doing this, which is exciting and cool, but also kind of overwhelming. Also, just thought I'd try something a little different on the channel. Why not? Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, please do like and share this if you liked it, and if this is your first time here, go check out any of my other videos. Watch one of them first, because I do normally different things, and if you enjoy it, I do invite you to subscribe. I come back with videos almost weekly. We're getting back close to weekly. Anyway, thanks. You guys have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, and I'll see you next Monday. Love you guys. Take care. Hey, thanks for sticking around. Just had a quick announcement I wanted to make. As many of you may know, we wrote a book. It's called The Last Smarter Book of Mysteries. It's under the Last Smarter brand. It's filled with all the most popular mystery topics that I've covered on this channel, and a few that I haven't. Chances are, if you've heard anything about this book, it's because we actually did do a pre-order launch a while back, and fulfilling those orders has been, I'll be charitable and call it a shit show. Let's just say we found new and innovative ways of screwing up. We screwed up in ways that were previously undiscovered by science. I don't mean to brag, but we broke new ground on incompetence. We earned our PhD, you might say. Well, the announcement today is that we seem to have finally gotten all the pre-orders taken care of, so the book is going finally wide to the public next week. It'll be available through Amazon. It's ready. It's good to go. But what we're trying to do, to let you in on a little secret here, we're trying to get on the Amazon bestseller list for this specific category anyway, just for a day, just so we can honestly say it's an Amazon bestseller, which obviously helps to promote it with traditional booksellers and publishers and whatnot. So if you do want to buy it, and it is a fun little book to read, it's a good present for the curious types in your life, I'm asking you to do it on November 12th, okay? That's next Wednesday. So set a reminder, put it on a sticky note, whatever you got to do, but buying this on the 12th really would help us out a lot. Buying it at all helps us out a lot. Buying it on the 12th extra helps us out. Anyway, there's a link in the description to take you to the Last Smarter page. It'll tell you everything you need to know there. But anyway, thank you for checking it out. Thanks for sticking around to hear me talk about it. For now, I'll sign off. Love you guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Buy the book!